Every day I fight a prayer. I just say I'm no holiday. Not go on my don't be tired. Let the message come away. Every day I fight a prayer. I just say I'm no holiday. Not go on my don't be tired. So my girl is a big God. Who is a big God? Subscribe, guys. Subscribe. What are you waiting for? Subscribe and get more juicy dancing. Hello, guys. How are you guys? You are watching A Different Perspective with Joyce Lynn. Guys, let's try to practice our logo a little bit. A different perspective for life. A different perspective for life. For those who are new, please, this is our logo. This is how we see ourselves unique, or we identify ourselves. When I say a different perspective, you type on the comment section for life. If you are not yet a member of this wonderful family, what are you waiting for? Please click on the subscription button and be the first to be notified whenever I upload a new video on my channel. So today we are going to be talking about why are there many unfinished buildings in Africa. If you have an answer to this question, please drop your answer on the comment section and let's learn from each other. I'm going to be sharing with you the reason why I think Africa has many unfinished buildings. Africa is the one and only continent that has the highest number of unfinished buildings in the world. So why do you think we have this high rate of unfinished buildings? First of all, I'll talk about the poor management of our banking and government sector. For example, if you're living in Europe, you see the government, they build houses and they give the opportunity to all their citizens to like acquire a house. All you need to do is to talk with your bank and they will carry out the necessary documentation and the house is yours. They just need to credit that money, a particular sum, gradually from your account and give you a particular date where the money should be completely paid. But here in Africa, first of all, our government is not well structured. They don't build houses for their citizens, and even when they do, not all the citizens are privileged to be able to acquire these homes. That means the banks give loans according to your occupation. That means if you're a teacher, you cannot have this particular amount of loan from the bank. If you are a lawyer, you can have this amount, you cannot have this. So it makes we, the citizens of Africa, a little bit limited. And so we can obtain houses built by the government just like that. That means not anybody can obtain those houses. And even when you decide to build a house by yourself, you are just you are limited to a certain amount of loan you can collect from your bank. And so if that loan is not able to complete your building or your house, you will be left with an unfinished building. And that is how we have so many unfinished buildings in Africa. Poor system of government, poor banking system. Sometimes I don't blame these banks because we are in Africa, and Africans, they always try to outsmart. So you can see somebody taking loan from the bank and then flee from one country to the other. It's not easy here because things are not well structured, technology is not well structured, so I can understand them. But these are the reasons, these are some of the reasons why we have unfinished buildings in Africa. Secondly, we'll talk about the building permit procedure. You see, here in Africa, you can buy a land and maybe start building on that land, and then you see the government resurfaces and say, stop building, you don't have a building permit, so you can't continue work on this building. And then they stop you and then they push you to go and get your building permit, a document called building permit. But the procedure in Africa, oh my God, it can take you more than 6 months. That means if your wife was pregnant, she will even give birth before you have your building permit. And what happens? That unfinished building stands there waiting for a paper, just a paper. Even though they are very aware that where you are building, you are permitted to build. But they just want you to go and collect, have that paper. You must have that paper just to continue. So it's really annoying sometimes. I think the best way to settle that kind of situation is to say, okay, continue building, but engage on the building permit process, because you know very well that finally they're going to permit the person to build there. There's no need to stop his work on the land, because when you stop the work on the land and force the person to first get the permit, what happens is that the money kept for that project, the person can invest it somewhere else or even squander it. By the time the document is out in 9 months time or in 1 year, the money is finished, and then you find yourself having an uncompleted building 5, 6, 10 years, 15. We actually don't care in Africa anyways. So that is it. It leaves us with many uncompleted buildings. Building permit process is too long. That's just a summary of it. It is too long in Africa, and so causes many people to have uncompleted or unfinished buildings. Thirdly, we have family disputes and land disputes. This can also cause us to end up with many unfinished buildings. I'll give you an example. For example, you see this young man buys a land from this person and then starts work on that land and start building on that land. And all of a sudden, the real owner resurfaces and says, these are my documents, you stole my land. And then you both start this land dispute, and no work can continue on that land until this dispute is settled. And the only way to settle this dispute, if there's no amicable understanding, is to go to court. And you and I know how the court procedures in Africa is. I've watched a divorce case take 5 years before it's pronounced. I mean, child custody is 7 to 8 years. So I imagine land dispute. So before you finish from the court, I'm sure the money kept for that purpose must have been squandered. And then you end up with an uncompleted building. What about this case where you see a father start building on his land, and then something happens, he dies before completing that building, and then his son, who is the rightful owner, decides to continue this building, and then the uncles resurface from nowhere and say, this land belongs to us. I mean, they come up with one cock and bull story how this land is theirs. And then, even though they know very well they have no money to finish the building on this land, but they will gang up and kill this young boy who has money and potentials to finish this building. They kill the young boy, and then yet we have a permanent unfinished building standing there. So these are all the reasons why we have so many unfinished buildings in Africa. I would like to ask us a question. Have we ever sat one day to ponder on the fact or the consequences or the disadvantages of having so many unfinished buildings in Africa? Please drop your answer on the comment section. What do you think are the consequences of having unfinished buildings around you? I'll drop the answer for you. These unfinished buildings turn up to be hideouts for thieves. They go around, they do their dirty work, then they come and hide in these unfinished buildings. Since people know these buildings don't have lights, they don't even have security lights around them, nobody is bold enough to come and look for them there, because you go there, maybe you might get killed. Sometimes you see these thieves staying in these uncompleted buildings for months, and even you, the owner, when you finally have money to finish that building, you are unable to finish it because they claim they own it now, because I've stayed there for months. They have been high. In fact, these are permanent homes. These unfinished buildings also are being used by kidnappers to hide their victims. These unfinished buildings are being used by kidnappers to rape both boys and girls. So we see that the crime or criminal activities in Africa increase with these unfinished buildings everywhere around us. What can we do, Africans? Our government needs to sit up, restructure our cities, restructure our states, give us the opportunity to own houses, talk with the bank to relax on their regularities. Please. So, with all this, if we can be able to join hands and correct all this, we'll see that Africa will be a safe place to be in. It will be a beautiful place for all of us. Let's try to reduce the rate of unfinished buildings in Africa. Let's try to restructure our countries. So, guys, what do you think about unfinished buildings in Africa? Drop your comments on the comment section. I'm very happy I was able to share this with someone. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I love you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you.